Salute, what's up, y'all? Welcome to PR 61 Minute Podcast. I am your host. Please respect the host, Now, in all turns and events, it seems to be so many different distractions, so many different, for the lack of better terms, so many smoke signals and false fires there are in the horizon. Now, the reason I say this is because the more distractions you put out, the less focus you put on whatever's in front of you, because you tend to try to keep up with whatever's going on. Now, I don't know if you guys noticing, but it seems to be a trial going on George Floyd situation. There's a lot of things that's being said in court, and seems to me that nobody's paying attention because of these press conferences that's been going on top of the trial. So we have a trial going on for a brother that lost his life last year at the hands of police officers. Now, the thing is that a lot of people rushed to judgment and said this, that, and the third. And, at the end of the day, it's a lot to be said, but we have to start listening less to reporters and more what's being said in the courtroom. Now, the problem is that me and you can't do that because it is so many acts of distractions that's being pulled right now. Like, my question to Al Sharpton and the Benjamin Crumps of the world: why would you guys have a press conference at the same time that George Floyd's trial is being televised to the world? What is it that you guys don't want us to see or don't want us to hear? What is the true evidence that's being told? Because this is why when the evidence surfaces and we can't turn away from reality and find out that his death was because of something else, then all of this is a charade. All of this is a hoax. So we don't even get the chance to really dissect that. Why? Because it's bad news on top of bad news. This is why you can never solve one at a time, because once the trial starts, then something happens, and then the same people that told you why the media doesn't cover it, the same people that tell you all this, is the same people that call the media to go over there and to distract the media from covering the actual court case that's going on right now for George Floyd. And I find that to be so distasteful, so disrespectful, and so many levels that you cannot wait to do the press conference. I mean, not even let's say a couple of hours after the George Floyd situation, because at the end of the day, media is going to be media, and whenever you say you're going to have a story that could go nationwide, they're not going to debate it. They're not going to say, no, we rather have it at this time. No, somebody must have picked the time out, and exactly the same time that another national trial is going on with the death of George Floyd. So what is it that you guys don't want us to see? Now, I pretty much have an idea, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, what is it they don't want you to see, or who they don't want you to see. Now, I told you guys in the last video, we mentioned the fact about my son and Tamika Harris, how they got kicked to the curb, and their service is no longer needed around the United States, because everybody found out that Tamir Rice's moms And shout out to her, and much respect to her, and a lot of blessings towards her way, that she mentioned the fact that these people are ambulance chasers, which damn near everybody knew that. I mean, those that didn't knew probably had some type of relationship with that fraction. But the situation is that you have now some people, they won't be able to be in boots on the ground. That's why I said on my last show that you'll see Tamika Harris, my son, in more of a comfortable environment where they'll be in probably the Breakfast Club, CNN, and things of that nature, because they already been exposed. You can't put them out there no more. They can't be like Jesse Jackson and be out in the street. They already know that they cons. So when people have exposed these cons, then some more cons will be coming, because these people got plan A, plan B, plan C, all the whole alphabet. They already got it. So you gotta, like I always say, once you know the players, once you know the game, you know the players. Once you know the players, you tend to pick up on habits. You tend to notice something is in the horizon. Now, there's a young lady that was doing a press conference. I believe the day before yesterday, I seen her. And I noticed that I didn't see my son. I didn't see Tamika Harris, Mallory. I didn't see Sean King down there. I didn't see none of them. So these are people from the grassroots, right? So now the young lady, that's why I said in the last show, whenever these people's names start pulling up, write them down and Google them and stuff like that. So I did. So the young lady's name that got my attention, Nalima Satiti Munene. This young lady, of course, is not Aboriginal from the United States by the pronunciation of her name. That right there, since that community is a very large African, Sudanese, Ethiopian, and that area, it's funny that they're taking, they're basically, I wouldn't say hijack, because they haven't, because at the end of the day, we let these people do what they do. We just, the Aboriginal people of this country gotta step up, because this young lady had left a quote or a message to the King Harriet from the United Kingdom, the Prince. So she mentioned, hear he, there is no commonwealth, but there is a common thief who looted and plundered from the rest of us. The House of Windsor have shown their true colors, and it's time for them to exit left and pay us our reparations while they are at it. Now, it seems to me that this young lady, by the way, doesn't live in the United States, and it's funny that she's here and representing a fight that is has been being fought for a very long time. Now, this fight is an Aboriginal fight, not an African fight. I'm pretty sure this lady has enough on her plate, enough in her country to be taking on something that she herself is probably a first generation here. It's not no second, third, fourth, none of that. So people of this nature really, like, I'll be surprised, because are you really in it for the justice of the people, or are you really in it for opening doors for your own people? As far as you're asking the king, the prince of the royal family, the next royal family, maybe for reparations, but you over here are asking for justice for the Aboriginal people. Because remember, the police brutality has never affected Africans the same way it has with the Aboriginal people. From the numbers speak for themselves as far as how many Aboriginals and how many Africans are being killed in this country, and the numbers tend to side with the Aboriginal people, unfortunately. But these are the people that we need to be a little bit worried about, because they can interject into this, and let's say Minnesota and some of the leaders get some grants and they get $1 billion, like the same way the senator or the House of Representatives in California gave the city of California for gang interventions $1 billion. So just imagine, how would somebody that's first generation, right, American, that is not an Aboriginal and is fighting the Aboriginal fight, how would that person be spending the money? Would they be spending it for the Aboriginal people? Remember, this is based on the killing of black people, right? Of Aboriginal people. This money has to go to the Aboriginal people first, and anything else it could sprinkle once everybody, as far as the Aboriginal, are secure and safe and sound. So I don't think this lady has the same core values that an Aboriginal woman that has 6 years, 6 generations deep in this country. It's two totally different things. Now, one thing I am worried about is the relationship between the Chinese government and these African countries. We see a lot of things that there's involvement with Africans. I mean, look at the two Nigerians with the Jussie Smollett situation. How Jussie Smollett was hanging out with Kamala Harris and Cory Booker at the same time they was pushing for a lynching bill. Now, these two Nigerians attacked Jussie Smollett, and Jussie Smollett ended up with a noose around his neck. Now it comes out that the disinformation is false. This has to be on the money, and you have to be a real square to not understand that some of these African countries, is Asia using, allegedly for entertainment purpose only, is China using Africans to bring down, without even them knowing, or maybe they do know, to bring down the Aboriginal peoples? Listen, when an African kills somebody, it's a black person that kills somebody. When an African becomes one of the fastest runner in the world, he's African. He's not black. It's the same thing with the tennis young lady that's Japanese and Haitian. Japan, like the media, claim her to be Japanese. Not even, we have to be careful who you ally with, because it seems during these events, it's nothing but foreigners or some type of foreigners around with this situation with Jussie Smollett, with the George Floyd, with the Asian guy was next to the. I mean, we got to step back and look, and we got to see, wow, maybe China, and I'm gonna get to the Silk Road in a later episode, but China is maybe using African people to manipulate into, since African and black not the same thing, but the media, TV, Hollywood sees it as the same. Only when someone is successful that they'll say, oh no, he's not black, he's African. Now that's when they know where they from. But when it comes to a murder or killing or robbery, it's black crime. If a Jamaican does it, it's black crime. Is if Hondurans does it, it's dark skin. It's a black crime. But whenever it's something good, oh no, he's not black. He's Jamaican. Oh, he's, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have Aboriginal people. I demand that you step up. I demand that you claim what's yours. Because as soon as you do that, everything is going to fall in line in this country and in the rest of the world. Everybody's waiting for the Aboriginal people to get their opportunity. Whether they like it or not, whether they tell you or not, everyone benefits from the Aboriginal people getting what they deserve. Whether it's reparation, whether it's land. Another thing, how is it that all these immigrants got land in Minnesota, the Colorados, the Sacramento? I mean, what's really going on? How come these lands weren't given to Aboriginal people, right? And they get to live in the predicaments that the Aboriginal people in. There's no way that we should let anybody with a soul, with a conscience, should not be letting other people skip Aboriginal people. Because the day that they do that to you, you can't cry about it. Next topic will be the Silk Road. Salute, y'all. Tune in back. Please subscribe. Please share. Please comment. These comments and any activity that you do on this channel does motivate me to do more. So please motivate me to do more and share, subscribe, everything, man. Beware of the insurgency. Beware of, and like I said, whoever they put in front of you in TV, write their name down, Google it before they start erasing things. Once you think about it, it's like they had the so-called, Asian attacks and stuff like that. Where did that went out of the woodwork? Who was manipulating? Who's the overseer in this situation? Because as quickly as that came, is as quickly as it went. So we have to start asking questions. The only probably way that I will understand is the fact that China has a lot of the African countries in a lot of debt. And once you have a country in debt, then you're basically enslaving them in one way or the other. So what better way to reach out to the African community by just what better way to infiltrate the Aboriginal Native Americans of this country by since we got that from Jesse Jackson with African American, right? So once you put the African in, that means that whenever they want to, that's giving them right to be called a native of this country. This is how these people, the Aboriginal people, the Native Americans of this land, could get hijacked again. Not into the slavery that it felt before, into a new slavery, a slavery adapt. They are owing, enslaved to money, and this is the thing that we're seeing now. And you're seeing, and now if you look at Andrew Yang, they've been pushing the Breakfast Club, pushing them. That one, pushing them. Everybody's pushing them. Why? Because these are people or fractions of TV networks or companies that fell in debt or are in control maybe of that red wave or that unseen hand. So please be careful at the end of the day, because really what it's looking like, it just doesn't sit right with me that somebody from a foreign country is gonna be the spearhead of movement that's affecting a certain people here, or the true natives, the true landlords of this country. I see it that the way I see it, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, these countries that are being enslaved economically, when the economy is so bad in these countries because of what China is doing, some of these people want to flee out of the country. See, for me, understanding things, China's not going to use Chinese to infiltrate black people. That's never going to happen. So what better way to do it? We're using Africans, because they already call themselves African American. That it's just like saying China. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to me. So please be aware whenever these people say we want justice for what they would say black people. In reality, is Aboriginal people, and the name is Matumbo. That doesn't no. Chinese people would never put an African in the spear to be the spearheaded for a liberation movement, or an empowerment movement, or freedom movement. That's not going to happen. You're not going to see Jewish people take anybody from Saudi Arabia and say, this guy is going to be the leader of the voice of the voiceless of this country. It doesn't happen like that. So please, let's wake up, y'all. Let's wake up. It's PR. We don't like to give y'all the news. We don't like to cover the news. We want to give y'all the news. So here you go. Please come back. Please like. Please share. Please subscribe. We need the feedback. We need the love, salute, and the hate. You know what I mean? You graduate with hate. All right, salute.